So you can.
I'll attend with Jessica Bueller.
It says that it's not available in AirPlay CarPlay. Screen mirroring is active. Run your laptop. I want us to have to.
Tell everybody we'll be starting in a minute. Tell everybody we'll be starting in a minute. Sorry, everybody. We'll be starting in just a moment.
All right, you're all set, Paul. So that she's down there.
So it's going to be this small. That's where it'll be. Okay. Welcome, everyone, to our June meeting. Thank you all for coming, for getting up, dressing, getting out of your pajamas and showing up. And for those on Zoom, we welcome you here in person. If you can come, we always want you here, and we feed you every month. So you can always know we'll be feeding you every month to entice you to come here. Now we have a guest. We have two guests today. One is the Chief of Police of Lexington, and she brought her two horses with her. That's Buddy and Jasper. So that's what's out there. The question is whether we should bring Buddy and Jasper in here to. I'll have to ask the Chief of Police whether we should do that or not. But anyway, they're here and she'll be talking to us at the end. And we also have Lacey from Cornerstone Bank, and she'll be here to give a little talk as well. But before we start all that, I have been reminded repeatedly that we have to start with a moment of silence. So let's start with a moment of silence, please. Thank you. I think I'm supposed to stand here so the Zoom people can see me. First of all, I always like to introduce new residents, but unfortunately, I never know which new residents will even show up for our meeting. Sometimes they're moving in, they're not quite here, but are there any residents here that has moved in since January of this year? Please stand up if you have not, if you just moved in here since January of this year. Give me the name tag, but I'm sure we know what you look like now, and so welcome to our meeting, and we appreciate you coming here and living with us. The Staff Appreciation Fund is over, and the staff received their checks. If you remember last month, I said we only collected $50,000, which was much less than last year. We had collected $90,000. Well, I can report today that we collected $91,000. So that is the most we have ever collected for our June Staff Appreciation Fund. So we want to thank everyone who made a donation to the Staff Appreciation Fund. And somewhere here, I can tell you who got what. So we collected $91,118.24. So somebody gave 24 cents, and thank you for that. I mean, another penny, we could have had 25 cents, a whole quarter, but anyway. 120 staff members received checks. The largest check was given to 37 individuals received $1,100 check. So 37 of our employees. And the lowest amount was $20.64. And that person probably just arrived that morning, so he probably only had 2 or 3 hours. So he got a $20 check in addition to his regular salary. So that was very impressive. Thank you very much for that. Jan, Felicia, and Herbie are not here. They're on their way to Roanoke to have the award presentation for Tammy Campbell, and I'll mention that in a minute. But Felicia wanted me to mention to you that on June 28th, that's next week, she will give an audit report to the residents here. And it's very important that we all show up. So Felicia spends a lot of time preparing this report for us, so we know what the financial status is of Kendall. And so we do want to support her and all the work she does. She does fabulous work for us. And so we want to make sure we all show up for her presentation on June 28th. So you received notice of that, but this is a reminder put that on your calendar, June 28th, for Felicia to give her report. Also, you received a notice from Jan about the Rockbridge Health Center coming here and leasing our clinic spaces. Well, the head of the Rockbridge Health Center will be here on June 24th to give a presentation to explain to you exactly what his organization is doing, what they're doing here, and how we fit into this new organization on our campus. But it's and Danielle will talk a little bit. If you have any questions, please ask Danielle, and she'll give a full and complete answer to any of your questions. One thing before COVID, we had front desk volunteers, basically on weekends, Saturday and Sunday. We used to have residents sit at the front desk in case guests come in. And Nelson Porter had done that pre-COVID, so I've asked him to just give a few words what this is all about. Because if we want to resurrect this, which I think is a good idea, we'll need volunteers to sign up for that. So if Nelson just tell us what that all involved and how hard the task was.
Hey, Paul, thank you. Welcome, everyone. Paul gave me 39 seconds. I can do it in about 30 seconds. Basically, you sit at the front desk where Karen, the receptionist, sits, and you answer questions for people that walk in the door. That could be an EMT who's lost or doesn't know where, say, an apartment is. It could be triads who want to put their money from their stay here or a tip money, and we show them where they can put that in a safe location, that little box behind the pillar that's locked. Flower deliveries, it's a good idea to call the resident to let them know they've got flowers at the front desk. I had a lockout once, so you track down somebody with keys so they can get back into their apartment or cottage. Okay, any quick questions?
What are the hours?
Oh, they vary. Paul's going to put a sign-up sheet to see if anybody is interested, or a lot of people are, and it's a 2-hour shift. Saturday and Sunday. Sunday, we leave 1 hour with no one at the desk, so the desk people can have their dinner. All righty, here you go, Paul.
All right, in the past, on Saturday, we basically manned the desk between 10 and 4, a 2-hour shift. And on Sunday, they did it from 1 to 5. So those are the hours, and we'll probably post that. So I'll post a sheet up there on the bulletin board. And if we get enough people willing to volunteer for this, we'll initiate it. Next, I want to talk about is the Webster Center is still looking for volunteers to help the residents. And I talked about this last month. There is a sign-up sheet, and you can see there's still some blank spaces here. So please look at that sheet. I'll put it back on the bulletin board. And if you're willing to sign up to volunteer to help the Webster residents, and it's exact time, like Monday at 2 for knitting, discussions on Thursday and Tuesday from 3:15, and singer musicians, if you have any talent, you want to help them on that. So the specific times they're looking for volunteers. So if you're willing to do that, I'd like to see this filled out a little more. If you have any questions, just contact Jacqueline, and she's the activities director in the Webster Center. So now, as I said, we don't see Jan isn't here, and because she are on their way to Roanoke for the awards presentation to look at this, all this paper here. I can't find what I want to talk about. Somewhere here, I had this organized before, but I can't. This is embarrassing. I can't. Here it is. As you know, Tammy Campbell, she's in housekeeping, works in Borden, and she's been with us for over 19 years. And she was is going to be formally presented with an award called Purpose of Progress, Changing the Way Virginians Live and Age. And it recognizes a clinical or support staff member who provides outstanding commitment to the residents within their role in the community, either leads with or exhibits a person-centered approach of compassion to the individuals. And so she was submitted and she was selected. And so they're on their way down to Roanoke for the award. And we have a short video about this award presentation.
Hi, I'm Karen Jackson, the Health Services Administrator at Kendall at Lexington. We're so proud to nominate Tammy Campbell for the Power of Purpose Award. Tammy is a member of the Environmental Support and Housekeeping Team at Kendall at Lexington and began her work here at Kendall on February 10th, 2003. Tammy's rather quiet and unassuming. She rarely misses work, and usually only if it's planned or a true emergency. But Tammy is cherished by her teammates because she's dependable, reliable, and consistent.
Hi, Tammy. Just wanted to say congratulations. We're so very happy that you were chosen for this award. You represent Kendall and the housekeeping department in the biggest way possible. We're very happy that you were chosen because you are so sincere, you're so heartwarming to everyone. You're always willing to come out and help, never fuss about anything. And so we're just very honored that you represent us. Thank you.
She's a very selfless person, both inside of Kendall and outside of Kendall. She writes children's books outside of Kendall. That's her hobby that she is very great at. Thank you, Tammy, for everything that you do for us, and we are so lucky to have you.
Hello, I'd like to just say, a few words about Tammy. Tammy is one of the most kindest, heartwarming people that I've ever met in my life. She's always on above and beyond the commitment of the residents. She's one of the best team players, co-workers that I think anyone can ask for. She's always going above and beyond to help them out as much as she does the residents. So it is just awesome to have someone like Tammy part of the Kendall team that we have here at the facilities.
Congratulations, Tammy, on this well-deserved recognition. We are so fortunate to have you as a member of our Kendall at Lexington team. For the past 19 years, you have brightened the lives of many, many residents and worked alongside many coworkers. You have made Kendall at Lexington a better place, and we are grateful for your devotion and your dedication. Thank you for being you.
Congratulations, Tammy, from all of us and the housekeeping team at Kendall.
Let's give her all. All right, now we're gonna have a presentation from our fitness center. As soon as-
Okay.
There we go.
So we can scroll through just fine.
Well, good morning. Remain in the right spot. I guess it doesn't matter. Okay, so we're here to talk to you about senior fitness testing. We started this back in March, so sorry, we're just now getting around to presenting to you. But I thought first we'd just tell you what is senior fitness testing. And it's a battery of tests that measures the physical capacity of older adults to perform everyday activities. So each of the tests that we have you perform has documented reliability and validity. And that means the results of each individual test provides dependable data for us to work with. Okay, so why would that be important to you? As we age, you want to have the strength, endurance, flexibility, and mobility.
Sorry, go ahead.
To continue to not only be able to take care of you and your house, but to continue to do all of the social, recreational activities that you love and enjoy. So that's important. Why would it be important to Victoria and I? It helps us evaluate you to see where you are physically, but really importantly, it evaluates our programming. So, for example, if we didn't meet the standard, or most of you didn't meet the standard for, say, upper body strength, then we need to look at what we are offering in our classes for you to meet those standards. So it's a great thing for us to look at. We're happy to report, and Victoria's about to show you some slides, some nice graphs that show how well you did, those of you that participated. And so we're happy to report that, I think you have very good fitness instructors. No, in all seriousness, you are such an active and motivated community, and you make our jobs easy. We talk about this all the time. We cannot teach, coach motivation. That has to come from within. You all show up, you do the work, you take our suggestions, that's lovely. But no, you really are doing great. So we applaud you for all you do for your physical health. Keep working out with us. If we can help you, let us know. And I'll have Victoria show you the results. So we had a really great turnout this year. We had 80 residents complete the fitness test. And just for reference, we have about 120 residents use the fitness center on an average month. So we felt like that was a significant portion of people that are coming to the fitness center. So what we're gonna be looking at on these slides is specific to fitness standards. So a fitness standard is a specific score minimum that's associated with the fitness level needed for independent functioning well into later life. So each of these is based on an age group. And so if in your 60s or in your 70s you meet a certain level, it means that later on in life you'll still most likely be independent and functioning well. So we'll go ahead and pull that up. Okay, so the first one we're looking at here, this is our chair stand exercise. This is looking at lower body strength. So this test is 30 seconds, looking at how many times you can get up and down out of a chair without using your hands. So in this category, 62% of those that we tested met the fitness standard. 38% did not meet the fitness standard. So many of those were really, really close. And so we're hoping that next year that goes up a little bit, but we still were really happy with the 62%. So the next one is the arm curl. This is looking at upper body strength. So for this test, women were given a 5-pound weight, men were given an 8-pound weight. And this is another 30-second test, saying how many times you can lift that weight in 30 seconds. And for this one, I mean, spectacular. 80% of you met the fitness standard for that, which is really fantastic. The next we're looking at the 2-minute step test. This is an endurance test where you're marching in place for 2 minutes, and we would count how many steps you could get during that 2 minutes. So this is kind of a speed and endurance test. And again, really great results here, 76% met the fitness standard here. And then we've got the 8-foot up and go. So this is an agility test. This is looking at how quickly can you get up, move around an obstacle, and get back to your chair. Kind of similar to our first one, 67%, so more than half. And again, lots of people who were kind of just really close to meeting that fitness standard. And so we had 2 other tests that we don't have a chart for because they didn't have a fitness standard. Those are our flexibility tests that look at hamstring flexibility and shoulder flexibility. Because those can vary so much, they don't have a specific fitness standard for them, but just so you know, that is part of the testing as well. Beyond this, though, we had multiple residents that not only met the fitness standard for their age group, but actually tested at decades younger than they really are. So that was really fun for us to see, including a handful of people who we had no chart for, because the people who came up with this test just didn't think that people were going to be really active and fit after 94 years old. But you guys like to prove them wrong, and they need to add some, they need to do some more testing to come up with some more charts. So anyway, that was very exciting for us. And so we had lots of new testers this year. So we've had lots of people move in since COVID. We have not done this test in 2 years because of COVID. We normally would do this once a year. So we did have some new testers, but amongst our retesters, people who have done this with us before, what we were really pleased to find is even though we had shutdowns and COVID and we haven't tested you in 2 years, we didn't see any significant declines in anyone. And in fact, we saw quite a few people improve specifically in the 2-minute step test, in that endurance test. And Kristen quickly thought, that has got to be due to the fact that so many people were walking so much more during COVID. Not only were you coming to fitness classes, but you were getting out as much as you could because of the lockdowns. And so bravo to you guys for not letting COVID get you down and for being stronger than ever. And so thank you so much for participating.
Okay, marketing. This is Jessica, slow moving up. Oh, it's not, it's Kevin.
Jessica is on vacation. So it's just me and Katie this month. We had last week a downsizing webinar event for prospects, and it's an event that we sponsored along with Kendall Crosslands and Kendall at Oberlin. So those 2 communities plus Kendall at Lexington shared the cost of the speaker, and we brought in author and newspaper columnist Marnie Jameson, who's kind of an expert on downsizing. And we know, because we've heard from all of you, that downsizing is perhaps the most challenging and difficult part of moving to a senior living community. And Marnie is kind of an expert on that. And so she gave a really good webinar. And between the 3 communities and all the people that we invited, we had close to 350 prospects in attendance at this webinar last Thursday. So very successful. And we're excited to turn at least some of those into future residents of Kendall at Lexington. Speaking of new residents at Kendall at Lexington, holy cow, the month of June has been crazy for us. I'll add in the end of May, Dennis Bussey moved from Richmond to Kendall at Lexington into Cottage 1008 on May 26th. Carolyn Jane Comstock from Lexington moved into Cottage 1016 yesterday and are continuing their move-in this week. Betty Reed from Lexington moves into Cottage 1028 tomorrow. Karen Waters and John McGran from Asheville, North Carolina move into 65 Sycamore on June 21st. And Alice Carell from Lexington moves into apartment 14 on June 29th. That's a lot of move-ins. And our contractors and our maintenance folks and our housekeeping folks and your marketing folks, we've all been very, very busy with all of those move-ins, and we're excited to welcome those new residents to Kendall. Katie has the rest of our marketing report.
Thank So this month, along with all the move-ins and everything going on, Kevin and I did 13 different tours, meetings, try-its, which resulted in 2 wait lists. The tours came from all over the place. We had from Berkeley, California. We had from Littleton, Colorado, and then a few from Virginia, so 2 from Amherst, 1 from Roanoke, 1 from Waynesboro, and the rest from Lexington. But we are excited that we're up to 28 waitlist members for the year. Our goal is 30, so we are doing all right. Paul?
And next on the lineup is Ms. Judy. One of our shiny needs, our aspirations, restaurant, no, I won't mention that.
That's bad work. Good morning. Let's see if I can get this right here. This newfangled thing. I even have notes today because I didn't want to leave anything out. To start off with, just a reminder, July 4th is the one day that we will be closing early. We will serve our picnic fair till 3 p.m. on that Monday. The Labor Day and Memorial Day, we don't shut down for dinner, but just to keep you in the loop, it's a normal process that we've done since I've gotten here. Recycle. How you guys feel about recycle? Very good. First request. Please do not remove my china from the dining room. The bowls for the soup and or ice cream seem to be very popular movers as an out of the dining room, and tumblers. So if you could look around your apartment, if you have any, please bring them back to me. I ordered a case of soup bowls in April. I went to order more this week. They're out of stock. So if you guys can be prepared, if you want to take it out, I have no problem, but please continue to use your own recycling items. Consumer price index is out. It's not good news for anybody, anywhere. It is up 7.4%, the highest jump in, you ready? 41 years. Eggs, they're up 10.3%, or 22.6% over this time in April last year. So I am struggling with the budget. You haven't seen it. We'll have to make some menu adjustments. We'll try and keep it as fresh and crisp as possible. Please bear with us as we work through those items. We have thermostats in the dining room. They are set where they need to be set. Please do not touch them. There are 5. And if one is changed, the other 4 don't work. So they're all simultaneous. They all have to read the same thing for them to either heat or air condition the facility downstairs. I'm one of those folks that I bring a sweater with me. It doesn't matter where I go. There was one in the back of some vehicle that I own because I'm always cold. So if you would not touch those, that would be wonderful. I've got another piece of paper, Paul. We are reviving the kitchen tour list, the kitchen tours. So our first one will be Monday, July 20th at 3 p.m. No, I'm sorry, I think it's a Wednesday, actually, the 20th at 3 p.m. You will need to wear a hairnet. We have a lot of new people, hairnet, hat. I had somebody show up with a shower cap once. That was kind of strange, but it worked. We want to limit the roster to 8 folks. That way you can all hear me. We start at the back loading dock. We pretend you're a piece of produce or meat or whatever. And we ship you off to where you need to be stored. And it gives you an idea of what the processes are in our kitchen here at Kendall at Lexington. It's followed by a brief Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, a lot of you new folks, you might be very interested in it. We have had some construction, so I've had a walk-in freezer added and a very small storeroom. So the back of the house for you folks that have done the kitchen tour is not all, hasn't changed all that much. So please look for these over by the bus sign-up sheets. We'll cut it off at 8. We're gonna try and run one once a month. So that way if you miss July or August because you're on vacation, don't worry, we'll continue doing more of them throughout the year. Does anybody have any questions right now? Yes, Diane.
Will you go through what you said first up about the hours on the 4th and during the summer?
So 4th of July, we will serve 11:30 to 3. And other than that, we keep all of our hours the same. Labor Day and Memorial Day are still a lunch and dinner process. I did hire a new cook that is not what we call an a la minute cook, which is required for the restaurant. So we're still struggling to locate that position to get that open for you. So we're getting there, slow but sure. Any other questions? Yes, Robin.
Judy, how many cooks do you have now?
How many cooks do I have now is the question. I have a Jennifer, a Remy, a Mark, another Jennifer, and I'll be adding Cheryl onto the list and Sharon. So we're up to 5. I still have 2 positions open. So. Anybody else? Wow, that was painless. Thank you. Thank you for all you guys do.
I'll let you know that you asked the chief of police to go through your apartments right now, looking for those soup bowls. Sorry, Danielle?
Good morning. I don't like to follow Judy speaking because she's such a good speaker. I get super nervous. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Kendall Clinic. As you know, the Blackfoot Area Health Center will be operating out of what is now the Kendall Clinic. We are having some construction right now to build us a Kendall Clinic that will operate with me. That will be open July 1. So as of right now, we are still operating out of the clinic here at Kendall until July 1. The new clinic is going to be where the staff break room is, which is located, but yes, I know where it's located, but describe begin word. By the elevator, yes. By the elevator outside of Webster. So the Kendall Clinic will sit there in that corner. So that's where I will be having the clinic at. That will consist of my office, a 1 exam room, and a waiting room. So everything that we need. I plan to keep the hours the same. So I don't plan to change that. So that'll be walk-in clinic hours, Wednesdays from 1 to 4. And Thursdays from 9 to noon. Does anyone have any questions? Yay. All right.
Next up is Wick, talking about the progress of the 3 North Committee.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, current projects for this summer. Hot off the presses, we do have gardening upgrades now being accomplished for Borden, Webster, and the Anderson deck. The Anderson deck planters have been installed, planted, watering hoses have been hooked up, and volunteers are caring for the planting now. Webster in the interior garden, which isn't quite as visible to most of us, a rolling garden cart has been refurbished by Herbie's crew, planted, and Webster residents are being engaged with volunteers in care of those plants. Over at Borden, 2 more rolling carts are in progress for the pergola areas. So a big shout out, I think, goes to Diane for spearheading that and a bunch of great volunteers. She is seeking more volunteers as this project grows out, so to speak. On the trails over on the west side of campus, the grass is growing. Not as quickly as we had all hoped, but it is growing, and this rain has been good for it. 2 picnic tables, each seating 8, and rest area chairs and benches are going to be placed just as soon as the grass allows us to get out there to work. Shade tree locations are under study for fall plantation. And I was told this morning that the first of those rest area benches is on campus and going to be ready to be installed as soon as we can get up there. That is one of the results from the Sustainability Committee with their green benches from the plastic recycling project. So good news all around on that. The committee is still seeking input for a final name for what's now being called Hickory Hill, or used to be called Mount Mena. We do not have a good history here of finding names for places. But believe me, we need some help. Dog park, not much progress to report. It's still on schedule for fence construction this month. And the K-9 operating group is at work now developing rules for how that will run. That's going to be important. It's a communal space, of course, both for the dogs and for the owners. It's got to be kept clean. We've got some liability issues, health issues, all to take care of. So that's important work, and they're going to be asking for cooperation from all the dogs and owners. The dumpster area behind Webster is proceeding as planned, just the way I talked last month. The grass has now come in. It all already looks much better and cleaner, and there's less trash blowing around than there used to be. So, and further progress is on track. Looking out a little further long range, the Guernsey Pond water feature, as I've described before, we're proceeding very cautiously with feasibility studies to see if such a thing is even possible. We did meet with Professor Joel Cooner from Washington Lee to see if a feasibility study will fit as a senior capstone project for the Washington Lee engineering students next fall. We're still waiting to catch up with VMI with similar request. The Hickory Hill Pavilion. Planning is continuing, and it's going to continue fall and winter with the objective of funding and constructing some sort of pavilion and shelter next year. We're going to start out with those picnic benches, get some experience on usage and what's needed up there, and then aim for next year for an actual construction project. The other thing we're going to be looking at now, and probably going into the winter for possible next year, is what's called the Kendall Park. That's the flat area up, used to be known as Nielsen Village. It's a wonderful flat area there now. It's crying out for some use, but nobody's quite sure what the best fit is going to be. So that's in the works to take a look at. That's all I've got. Let me encourage feedback to any of the 7 North members on any of these projects. We always need input.
And now we have Kay, can give us a little update on culture and entertainment for our folks.
Thank you, Paul. My first report is about movie attendance. It has been consistently good for both Mondays and Thursdays. Margaret Fletcher, who is in charge of selecting the movies and doing the poster, she did an average, she did the count for each movie because the projectionists are asked to count how many people are there. She did a fabulous job of typing up the movie, the attendance, and then all I had to do was do an average. And the average was pretty similar for both Mondays and Thursdays, because we thought if there was a dramatic difference, we would just do once, but we're going to keep them both. The Saturday movies didn't work out very well. One day the screen wouldn't come down, and another day there just weren't many people. So we may try that again in the fall. We do need 2 or 3 more volunteers. We've had a couple of people resign. Cleve would like to give up doing the scheduling of people. That's not difficult. He only has to do it twice a year, but we do need a couple more projectionists. So any of you, you don't have to do it very often, but it would be greatly appreciated if we could get some volunteers. The Monday dinners are back out in the town again, and we had a very successful trip to Taps this week or last week, and now we're going to be going to Napatai. That's here on Main Street. Gisela Telmus is the one to approach with any ideas you have about restaurants you'd like to go to. We're just trying to do it once a month, and we do it on Tuesdays because Thursday is the movie, Monday is a movie, Fridays is not generally very good, and Wednesdays we have a lot going on here at Kendall Hall. So Tuesdays is where we're set. The series on Getting to Know Rockbridge County, which Diane Herrick has been heading, it has not been too great. They were trips that were outside of Kendall, and we would like to know why, but we suspect that maybe people have already been there. So the last 2 had to be canceled. So any ideas that you have for trips that are in Rockbridge County, let's speak to Diane about it. Or you can speak to me. Coming up soon will be an afternoon concert by the House Mountain Band, excuse me, of which Pat Meyercheck, a resident here, is a member. And we're also going to be having a talk by Sue Pipo on her trip to Botswana, but it's not just going to be a presentation of animals. It's going to also include some information about the country itself, Botswana. And Garth Newell, the emerging artist program that we've always had in the past, except during COVID, that will be here in July 28th. The young artists, well, they're not so young, but the emerging artists will have dinner, so you may see them down there, and then they'll come up here and perform. And the Kendall Singers will entertain us in Kendall Hall on July 6th. The 4th was the director wasn't available, so we opted for a July 4th concert on the 6th. And I think they're planning on serving ice cream. It's at 3 o'clock, and I think they're planning on ice cream afterward. We hope to take a bus to the Bath County Art Fair on Tuesday, July 19th. It's a pretty long drive, and we will stay there about maybe 2 hours. And we're not sure about lunch, what we're going to do about that. So if anybody has any ideas about lunch, let us know. In August, we will go to Stanton Music Festival. The program has not been selected yet, but keep your ears and eyes open for the Stanton Music Festival. And the bulletin board to watch for announcements is the one by the stairs. So thank you very much.
Stephanie, there she is.
Good morning. I am here this morning to introduce you to Lacey Moore. She is a representative with Cornerstone Bank, And many of you may know that Cornerstone Bank is here every Wednesday, and Lacey's going to come up this morning and talk a little bit about the services that Cornerstone has to offer.
Hello. I feel like I've seen some of you guys before. But like she said, I'm here on Wednesdays. I'm in the little room like diagonal from the library. Some of you guys may have walked by and passing and saw me in there. I mean, you guys are all more than welcome to stop by, even if it's not banking related, to stop by and say hello. Whether you are a customer of Cornerstone or not a customer of Cornerstone, any banking assistance that you all need, that's why I am here. Of course, we would love to have you at Cornerstone, but I will settle for anything, really. Do you guys have any questions?
Is this in place of Jean?
It's the same thing. Jean came and then I took it over,
Okay.
but it's the same dynamic kind of thing.
What are your hours?
The hours typically are 10 to 11:30. Currently, I don't see many people, so we kind of shortened it because of that. I have give or take about 5 people that come. But I mean, really, it could be 10 to 12, 10 to 12:30. So really just depends on the turnout of how many people stop by and all of that kind of jazz.
What banking services can you provide?
Cashing checks, if you have an account with us, depositing. If you guys are interested in opening anything with us, I can do that. I'd have to actually go back to the bank and get the paperwork printed out, but I would bring that back as far as signing and all that goes. So really anything that you all would need. Anything else? Nope. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's another week. If we have any banking needs, the bank, Cornerstone Bank is here for. And now, for the highlight of our meeting, I want to introduce the Lexington Chief of Police, Angela Green, and she's always accompanied by her 2 bodyguards, Buddy and Jasper. I don't know whether she's going to bring them in here to introduce you to them, but anyway, this is Angela Ruffin today.
Thank you all. I'm so excited to be here with you all. I got here about a year ago, May, so just a little over a year. Go stand so that you can see. Already I'm being bossed around. Okay, I will take down the energy just a little bit for you guys. So again, I'm excited to be here even for all of you guys out there on Zoom. So a year ago when I got here, unfortunately, we were still under COVID restrictions, so I wasn't allowed to meet you all, but I am so excited to finally get here to meet you guys because I've heard so many great things about you and obviously hearing about how you are all physically fit and engaged. I can't wait to see what you do with my 2 bodyguards out there. As Mr. Paul said, I know I'm not the star of the show. If you guys didn't hear, there's Buddy and Jasper out there that have been out there about an hour. They are horses waiting to meet you all. And I'll tell you kind of real quickly about that. But before I get into that, because I got so much on my mind, you guys got to keep me straight. If there is any questions you guys have about the police department or want to know anything, just throw your hands up, let me know, and I will answer it. But I don't want to keep you here any longer because I know you've already been here almost an hour. I'm probably ready to get out of here and tired of listening to me already. So with that, coming here in the city of Lexington, obviously I bring some experience from the city of Richmond, policing there for 15 years, and then policing in the city of Portsmouth for about 5 years before coming here as the chief. So with that, I used to have to battle a lot of violent crimes in those 2 areas. Thank goodness, knock on wood, we don't have those crime issues here. So all the great things because of all of you all doing a great community for us. But what I do notice is that we can do a lot more for our residents in community engagement. And I kind of have a soft heart for our senior citizens because I truly believe that you all gave up your time, your wisdom, your guidance and love to get people like me where I'm at. So now it's time for us to give back to you all. So I do that. I have my 83-year-old mom that lives with me. I take care of her. Yes, sometimes it's a struggle, but we do what we gotta do, right? So what I wanna do is sometimes we forget about our senior citizens. And I wanna make sure that you all are in the forefront of whatever we do whenever I think about a program. So two particular programs that come to mind when I think about you all, how the police department can positively engage with you is the first Triad. Has anybody heard about Triad with the Attorney General? You have, ma'am? Attorney General's office. And usually larger departments, they meet every month with senior citizens, talk about crime prevention, things that unfortunately people like to plague on our vulnerable senior citizens, like scams and things like that. We tell you how to protect yourselves. We usually take you out on trips. So the Attorney General and I, or a representative, just met Tuesday. And we're trying to bring Triad here to Lexington. So hopefully that's something we can engage with you all as well. The other thing, which is the big thing out there, Buddy and Jasper, was our mounted unit. Coming from Richmond and Portsmouth, we had a mounted unit. Our mounted units were mostly designed for riot control, crowd control because of issues, right? Don't think we'll have that issue here, but you always have to be prepared. So our horses will be trained on those techniques and aspects as well, just because you never know. We don't live in a bubble and anything can happen at any time. So it's my job to make sure that the officers are prepared for anything so that we can keep the safety and the peace for all of you. But more importantly, what I've learned with our horses, with community engagement, is the horse therapy. That the horses are great with children that suffer from autism, or people that have trust issues, whether re-entry because of drug abuse, mental health, domestic violence, that the horses have been great with helping the healing. But for our senior citizens, they also have been known to help with dementia and Alzheimer's, and even mobility. Those of us that can't walk so well, we prop you up on Buddy and Jasper and you're gone all day long. Buddy and Jasper got you. You want to go to the store and get some eggs and milk? We got you. So I think it's just wonderful. And it's a great community outreach, but then tying into the police aspect too. Horses are great for search and rescue of lost or missing individuals. Unfortunately, sometimes when we get older, we might wander off a little bit. This is a big county with a lot of open land, and it's much quicker and more effective when we have an officer sitting 10 feet high in the air surveying the land and can see much farther and get much more ground cover a lot more quickly on horses to reunite individuals with their loved ones. So there's a lot of great benefits to our mounted unit, and I'm gonna pass around this information. If we want to start maybe over here, and just, there's a brochure about the mounted unit. So if you guys have any questions after this, and then I'll talk about the summer camp as well. But the mounted unit, we haven't quite started yet. My city council and city manager said, yes, mounted unit, that all sounds great. Wonderful benefits for our community. But we're not gonna pay a dime for it. You get some money, you get the community involved. If the community wants it, then we'll have it. So I put some feelers out shortly after I got here. And we had about 30 people to come together and said, we want to start a mounted unit board. So one of my board members, Mr. Mo Littlefield back there, raise your hand for the residents, Mo. Hey, he sits on the board, and he was also instrumental in getting me in here to talking to you all, and said the mounted unit would be great. And I know some people that might want to hear about it. So right now we have about $15,000 in cash, and we have donations. We have hay being donated for the horses, feed being donated for the horses, a local vet. Dr. Logan is donating his time. We have a farrier for shoes, and the 2 horses you have out there are actually donated to us. So yeah, we have a lot of great community engagement, but we're about $35,000 short of where we feel comfortable starting it. Because when we start this program, we want the program to be able to exist for years to come. We don't want to get attached to Buddy and Jasper, and then all of a sudden we can't afford to feed them anymore and have to give them up. So we want to make sure we do this right. So with that, it may be a little bit more time as we still continue to fundraise, but the goal is to eventually get fully up and running so we can bring those programs here to you all. Does anybody have any questions about that? Yes, ma'am.
Where are you housing the horses?
Wonderful. Like I said, thank you for keeping me on track. One of the donations is the horse center. The horse center has donated the Hoofbeats barn. So it's a 10-stall barn. I only got 2 horses right now. So that's where Buddy and Jasper will live. So like we said, there's a lot of community interest and engagement, but we're not quite there yet. Hopefully we'll get there very soon so we can actually start doing what the mounted unit was intended to do. And as that community outreach with you all. Any other good questions? Thank you for that. Yes, ma'am.
How many officers do you have at this point?
Right now, we have, well, I'm authorized 18 officers, including myself, but I have 2 vacancies. So I'm short 2 officers. One of the reasons for the mounted unit too, I'm glad you brought that up, is for recruitment and retention. I already have one of my sergeants who is a horse enthusiast that was scheduled to retire this year. But she is my lead on the mounted unit. And she said, if you bring a mounted unit here, I'm not going anywhere. I am staying right here. Unfortunately, with our department being so small, only 18 total, the officers don't have much mobility. They're out there on the streets. We don't have specialized units like mounted, canine, SWAT, homicide, forensics, narcotics, all that cool, fun stuff they watch on TV and they want to do when they get to be police officers. So, unfortunately, what happens? They come here as a stepping stone and they go to a bigger department that offers those types of specialized units. So I want to keep the great officers we have here. So I want to start with those big animals, lovable, sweet animals out there and bring them in as a mounted unit and then start bringing in other things like canine. I figure if I could get big horses and you all to fall in love with the horses, it'll be easy to bring in the dogs. And then we'll work from there. So I have a master plan ahead of me. But yes, recruitment is one of those things with the mounted unit. And unfortunately, as you all know, in the perception of law enforcement, nowadays, we don't have a lot of people that want to be police officers anymore. So I have to do everything that I can to keep the ones that I have and to attract others that are interested in law enforcement to come to sweet Lexington. And one of those, again, the mounted unit, there is not another mounted unit for 2 hours from here. The next closest mounted unit is 150 miles away, the city of Richmond. So think about the great resource that would be, like I said, missing, search and rescue if we had a crowd control, if we have our mounted unit. Yes, ma'am.
How much training does a horse have to go through to be considered? Are they considered an officer?
Yes.
So how much training does a horse go through? And have these went through that?
So the horses have to be evaluated. They have not been evaluated yet. We have their owners. It's more or less just a temperament. We have to make sure it's going to be about a year after we get up and running because the horses have to be what we call bomb-proof. We have to make sure that they're not scared if you come out there with a little red balloon and they run and gallop off. So we're going to have to do a lot of testing and a lot of work. So there's a lot of hours into it. So about a year of training, and the training is also with the officer and the horse because the officer has to bond with their horse, their partner, just like a canine and their officer, so that when the officer knows the horse just isn't feeling right, something's wrong, they take them away, they may put them up, not bring them out that day. And the same thing, the horses feed off of the officer. If the officer is anxious, then the horse gets a little anxious. So it's a lot of work and a lot of training that goes on. It's not that if you all gave me $100,000 today, we're gonna hop on Jasper and go out there and ride down Main Street. That's not gonna happen. We're gonna have to do a lot of training But today is the first day that Buddy and Jasper are actually meeting anybody, so you are there first. Yay! Yay! So there'll be a lot of that, the little meet and greets to kind of get the horses used to large crowds and people and different kind of temperaments and people. So, and a lot of exposure to environments for the horses and the officers that are going to ride the horses. Another great question. Yes, sir.
The Kendall campus is partly in the city. Would you care to comment on those of us who are here but don't live in the city? Are we allowed to talk to you?
Absolutely. You are all nobody knows boundaries. Even if you live in a county, I'm more than sure you come back and forth into the city, and it doesn't matter to me. You're a person. I don't care if you live in a county or not. I might try to get you to move into the city. But if not, I love you all the same. All the same. Is there any particular question that you had? No? Just want to know if I love you the same? I do have favorites though, but I still love you. Are there any other questions? Is everybody ready to go meet Buddy and Jasper? Are they free to go out?
All right, it's 11 o'clock. Let's start a riot and see how the horses react. So you're all invited to go outside. Where are they?
They should be
Outside
right
the
out
front door.
front.
Thank you for coming. We'll see you next month.